A country where time moves differently. A place where the desert doesn't feel empty, the mountains don't feel distant, and the sea doesn't feel endless. Oman is not loud. It doesn't need to be. Its beauty is subtle, its strength is quiet, and its safety is something you feel the moment you arrive. In a world where travel has become crowded, chaotic, and rushed, Oman offers something rare: space. Space to breathe, space to think, space to simply exist. Today, we're not just visiting Oman. We're stepping into a land that has preserved its soul, where tradition meets modern life in perfect balance. A country where hospitality is a way of life, not a show. A place where every road leads to a new kind of silence, one that feels peaceful, not empty. So stay with me, because what you're about to see is not just another travel destination. It's a country that will change the way you think about safety, beauty, and what it means to truly feel at home in a foreign land. Welcome to Oman, the safe and beautiful country no one knows about. From the air, Oman looks like a place the world forgot to notice. Endless mountains ripple toward the horizon, deserts glow like burnished gold, and the sea wraps the land in deep shades of blue. Yet despite this breathtaking beauty, Oman remains one of the least talked about countries on Earth. In a region often defined by noise, headlines, and extremes, Oman has chosen silence, balance, and calm. And that choice has shaped one of the safest, most peaceful, and most visually stunning destinations on the planet. Most travelers think they understand the Middle East before they ever arrive. They expect chaos, crowds, or overwhelming heat and intensity. Oman quietly breaks every assumption. Here, modern life and ancient tradition exist side by side without conflict. Skyscrapers do not dominate the skyline. Ancient forts are not buried under concrete. The land is allowed to breathe, and so are the people who live on it. This is a country that moves at its own pace, guided by history, geography, and a deep respect for harmony. Safety in Oman is not enforced through fear. It is lived through trust. Walk through its cities at night, and you will feel it immediately. Streets are calm, doors are often left unlocked. Strangers greet you with warmth, not suspicion. Crime is rare, and respect is woven into daily life. It is the kind of place where you slow down without trying, where tension fades because there is nothing pushing against you. But Oman's beauty is not just emotional. It is dramatic, physical, and overwhelming. Jagged mountains rise straight from the earth like ancient guardians. Deserts stretch endlessly, untouched and alive, with subtle movement. Wadis cut through rock, revealing water so clear it feels unreal. Along the coast, cliffs collapse into turquoise seas, where fishing villages still follow rhythms older than maps. Every landscape feels intentional, as if nature designed Oman carefully and then stepped back to admire its work. What makes Oman truly different is not just what it has, but what it refuses to become. While much of the world races toward excess, Oman preserves restraint. Buildings are low, white, and respectful of their surroundings. Traditions are protected without being frozen in time. Progress happens quietly, thoughtfully, without erasing identity. This balance has created a country that feels grounded, confident, and complete. For thousands of years, Oman stood at the crossroads of civilizations. Traders, sailors, and explorers passed through its ports, carrying spices, stories, and ideas across oceans. Yet Oman never lost itself. Instead of being consumed by outside influence, it absorbed knowledge while keeping its soul intact. That same spirit exists today. You feel it in the call to prayer echoing through mountain valleys. You see it in the simple elegance of Omani dress. You sense it in the way people speak, move, and welcome others. Despite all this, Oman rarely appears on travel lists or trending destinations. It does not shout for attention. It does not sell an illusion. It waits quietly, confident that those who find it were meant to. And when they do, they often leave changed, carrying a calm they did not know they were missing. This journey is about uncovering that quiet power, about exploring a land where safety feels natural, beauty feels endless, and time seems less demanding. From ancient cities to untouched deserts, from mountain villages to hidden coastlines, Oman offers something rare in the modern world, a sense of peace that feels real. This is not a place built to impress you for a moment. It is a place that stays with you. And as we begin this journey through Oman, one question lingers in the air. How did one of the most beautiful and peaceful countries on earth remain hidden for so long? The heart of Oman reveals itself not in a single landmark, but in the way the land unfolds slowly, layer by layer. As you move inland from the coast, the scenery changes with a quiet confidence. Green plains fade into rocky foothills, and suddenly the mountains rise, sharp and commanding. These are the Haja Mountains, the backbone of the country, stretching like a stone spine across northern Oman. They do not feel decorative. They feel ancient, powerful, and deeply connected to the identity of the land. Driving through these mountains feels like entering another world. Roads carve through towering rock walls, revealing villages tucked into impossible places. Stone houses cling to cliffs. Date palms grow where logic says nothing should survive. Here, life has adapted to the land instead of fighting it. For centuries, communities learned how to live with scarce water, intense heat, and isolation. The result is not hardship, but resilience shaped into culture. Water, in Oman, is never taken for granted. In the mountains, you begin to understand this deeply. Ancient falaj irrigation systems still run beneath villages, quietly channeling water from distant springs to farms and homes. These systems are thousands of years old, yet they continue to function with remarkable precision. They are not monuments, they are living infrastructure, proof that sustainability was practiced here long before it became a modern concept. One of the most striking experiences in Oman's interior is discovering its wadis. From above, they look like scars cut into the rock, but descend into them, and they transform into hidden worlds of life. Pools of emerald water appear suddenly between canyon walls. Palm trees grow in clusters, their reflections trembling on the surface. Birds echo through narrow passages. These places feel secret, as if nature is sharing something only with those willing to look closely. What's remarkable is how accessible this beauty is. There are no barriers, no excessive development, no sense that nature has been packaged for consumption. You park your car, walk a short distance, and you are surrounded by silence and stone and water. The experience feels raw and honest. Oman does not curate its landscapes. It trusts them to speak for themselves. Mountain villages tell another story. In places like Misfat al-Abriyin, narrow paths twist between mud brick homes and terraced farms. Life here moves slowly, guided by daylight and seasons rather than schedules. Children play in shaded alleys. Elders sit quietly, watching time pass without urgency. There is no performance for visitors, only daily life continuing as it always has. You are not treated as an outsider, but as a temporary guest in a long, ongoing story. Safety here feels different from what many travelers expect. There is no tension in the air, no sense of needing to watch your back. Even in remote areas, you feel welcomed, not tolerated. This sense of security does not come from control, but from shared values. Respect for others is deeply ingrained. Hospitality is not an industry, it is a duty, practiced naturally and without expectation. As night falls in the mountains, the world grows quiet in a way many people have never experienced. There is no constant hum of traffic, no artificial glow flooding the sky. Stars appear in overwhelming numbers, stretching across the darkness like a map of ancient routes. In these moments, Oman feels timeless. You are reminded how small modern life really is, and how vast the natural world remains. The mountains of Oman are not just scenery, they are teachers. They show what happens when humans adapt instead of dominate, when progress moves carefully instead of aggressively. They hold stories carved into stone and passed through generations, stories of endurance, patience, and balance. And as the journey continues deeper into the country, one thing becomes clear. Oman's greatest wonders are not always loud or dramatic. Often, they are quiet moments of harmony between land and life. Moments that stay with you long after you leave the mountains behind. At first glance, the desert appears empty. Endless sand, harsh light, silence stretching to the horizon. But in Oman, the desert tells a very different story. It is not a void. It is a living landscape, shaped by wind, time, and human survival. As you enter the Wahiba Sands, also known as the Sharqiya Sands, the world simplifies itself. Distractions disappear, noise fades, What remains is pure space, raw beauty, and a sense of calm so deep it feels almost unreal. The dunes rise and fall like frozen waves, their colors shifting with the sun. At dawn, the sand glows pale gold. By midday, it burns white under the sky, and at sunset, it turns deep orange and crimson, as if the desert itself is on fire. No two moments look the same. The wind redraws the landscape constantly, erasing footprints and reshaping ridges. In the desert, nothing is permanent except change. For centuries, Bedouin communities have called this place home. To outsiders, survival here seems impossible. But the Bedouin did not conquer the desert. They learned it. They read the wind, the stars, the behavior of animals. Their knowledge was passed down through generations, forming a relationship with the land built on respect rather than control. Even today, their presence can be felt in scattered camps, camel tracks, and the quiet confidence with which they move across the dunes. Spending time in the desert changes the way you experience time itself. There are no schedules, no notifications, no urgency. The rhythm of the day follows the sun. Mornings are gentle, afternoons demand stillness, evenings invite reflection. As night falls, temperatures drop, and the desert reveals one of its greatest wonders. The sky explodes with stars. With no light pollution, the Milky Way stretches clearly overhead, reminding you how small you are and how vast everything else is. Despite its extreme environment, the desert is not lifeless. Look closely, and you'll notice tracks etched into the sand. Foxes, lizards, insects, and birds have all adapted to survive here. Plants grow low and sparse, conserving water and energy. Every form of life is efficient, purposeful, and resilient. Nothing is wasted. The desert does not allow excess, and in doing so, it teaches restraint. What makes Oman's desert experience unique is how accessible yet untouched it remains. There are no towering resorts dominating the dunes, no loud entertainment competing with the silence. Camps are simple, designed to blend into the environment rather than overpower it. Nights are spent listening to the wind move across the sand, sharing quiet conversations, or simply sitting in stillness. It is luxury defined not by comfort, but by presence. Safety here feels instinctive. Even in the vast openness of the desert, there is no sense of danger, only awareness. Guides move calmly, confidently. Locals treat visitors with genuine care. There is a shared understanding that the desert demands respect, and that respect creates security. This trust between people and place is one of Oman's quiet strengths. As the sun rises again, shadows stretch across the dunes, and the desert slowly wakes. You realize that the emptiness you expected never existed. What you found instead was clarity, space to think, space to breathe, space to reconnect with something deeper than routine. The deserts of Oman are not about adventure alone. They are about perspective. They strip life down to essentials and reveal how little is truly needed to feel complete. And as you leave the sands behind, carrying grains of dust on your clothes and silence in your mind, one truth becomes clear. In a world that never stops moving, Oman's desert offers something rare. Stillness that stays with you long after the dunes disappear from view. The coast of Oman feels like a secret the ocean decided to keep. Stretching for thousands of kilometers, it is one of the most untouched shorelines in the world. Here, the sea does not compete with the land. It completes it. Jagged cliffs drop straight into deep blue water. Quiet fishing villages rest beside natural harbors. Waves roll in without crowds, without noise, without urgency. This is a coastline that exists on its own terms. As you travel along Oman's shores, the scenery changes constantly. In the north, near Musandam, mountains plunge directly into the sea, creating dramatic fjords that feel more Scandinavian than Arabian. The water here is impossibly clear. Dolphins often appear without warning, gliding alongside boats as if guiding visitors through their territory. The silence is broken only by waves and wind, making every moment feel intimate and unfiltered. Further south, the coastline opens into wide beaches where sand meets turquoise water in perfect contrast. These beaches are not lined with towering hotels or loud attractions. Many are completely empty, even during peak seasons. You can walk for kilometers without seeing another person, just footprints fading behind you as the tide slowly erases them. It is freedom in its purest form. For generations, the sea has been central to Omani life. Long before oil or modern trade, Oman was a maritime nation. Sailors navigated vast distances, reaching East Africa, India, and beyond. Their wooden dows, built using techniques passed down for centuries, are still crafted today. Watching one glide across the water feels like witnessing history still in motion. Fishing villages along the coast move to rhythms set by the tides. Early mornings bring quiet activity as boats return with their catch. Nets are repaired by hand. Fish are sold fresh, often directly from the shore. There is no rush, no spectacle, just routine shaped by the sea. Visitors are welcomed with curiosity and warmth, not expectation. Hospitality flows naturally, like the water these communities depend on. Safety along the coast feels effortless. You sense it in the relaxed posture of people, in children playing freely near the water, in the absence of barriers and warnings. Oman's relationship with the sea is built on familiarity, not fear. Respect for nature replaces control, and that respect creates balance. One of the most striking coastal experiences in Oman is snorkeling or diving in its pristine waters. Coral reefs remain healthy, vibrant, and full of life. Turtles glide calmly through the currents. Schools of fish shimmer beneath the surface. There is no sense of intrusion here. You are a guest, briefly allowed into an underwater world that continues unaffected by your presence. As evening approaches, the coastline transforms again. The sun sinks low, painting the sky in deep oranges and soft purples. The sea reflects every color, stretching the moment longer than it should last. Fishermen return home. The air cools. Silence settles in gently, like a blanket laid over the land. What makes Oman's coast so powerful is not just its beauty, but its restraint. It shows what happens when development pauses, when nature is allowed to remain dominant. The result is not emptiness, but richness. Not isolation, but connection. Leaving the coast, you carry more than images of blue water and golden sand. You carry a sense of calm shaped by waves that never hurry and shores that never demand attention. Oman's coastline does not try to impress you. It simply exists, and somehow, that makes it unforgettable. Oman's cities do not rise to dominate the land. They settle into it. From the very first moments in Muscat, the capital, this difference becomes clear. White buildings line the streets, low and understated, framed by mountains on one side and the sea on the other. There are no towering skyscrapers blocking the sky, no aggressive rush of traffic or noise. The city breathes at a human pace, shaped by intention rather than ambition. Muscat feels more like a collection of neighborhoods than a single metropolis. Each area has its own rhythm, its own character. In Mutra, the old heart of the city, the scent of frankincense drifts through narrow streets as wooden doors open into small shops. The souk is alive, but not overwhelming. Vendors greet visitors calmly, without pressure. Conversations matter more than transactions. It is commerce built on respect, not urgency. The Corniche curves along the water, offering views of the harbor that have barely changed in centuries. Dhows still float beside modern boats. Forts stand watch from rocky outcrops, reminders that this city has always been a meeting point between land and sea. Walking here feels like moving through layers of time, where the past has not been erased, only gently integrated into the present. What defines Oman's urban life is balance. Modern infrastructure exists quietly in the background. Roads are clean, services are efficient, yet none of it overwhelms the culture. Traditional clothing remains common. Mosques remain central, both architecturally and socially. The call to prayer echoes across the city, not as noise, but as a reminder of rhythm and reflection. Safety in Omani cities is not something you notice because of signs or warnings. You notice it because of what's missing. There is no tension in public spaces. Families walk late into the evening. Children play freely in parks and along sidewalks. Visitors feel comfortable exploring without fear, guided by curiosity instead of caution. This sense of security is deeply rooted in community values and mutual respect. Architecture in Oman reflects this mindset. Buildings are designed to blend with the environment, not overpower it. Colors remain neutral. Heights are controlled. Even government structures feel dignified rather than imposing. The result is a cityscape that feels calm, cohesive, and deeply connected to the surrounding landscape. Food offers another window into urban life. Meals are simple, flavorful, and shared. Spices hint at Oman's maritime past, influenced by trade routes that once connected distant worlds. Eating is unhurried. Conversations linger. Hospitality flows naturally, without expectation of return. To be invited to share food is not a gesture, it is a way of life. As night falls, Muscat does not transform into chaos. Instead, it softens. Lights glow gently against the mountains. Cafes fill with quiet conversation. The sea reflects the city's calm, rather than amplifying it. There is movement, but no rush. Life continues without pressure. What makes Oman cities remarkable is what they choose not to become. They do not chase global trends. They do not sacrifice identity for spectacle. They offer a vision of urban life where progress and tradition coexist without conflict. In a world where cities often exhaust the people who live in them, Oman offers an alternative. A place where urban life feels grounding rather than draining. Where safety is natural, beauty is subtle, and culture remains intact. And as you move through these streets, one truth becomes clear. Oman's cities are not designed to impress you quickly. They are designed to make you feel at home. Beyond the cities and coastlines, Oman's soul reveals itself through its ancient forts, villages, and the quiet persistence of history. This is a land where the past has not been sealed behind glass or separated from daily life. It stands openly, woven into the present, reminding everyone who passes through that time here moves differently. Across the country, forts rise from the earth, like natural extensions of the landscape. Built from stone and clay, they were never meant to intimidate. They were designed to protect, to observe, and to endure. Nizwa Fort, with its massive circular tower, overlooks an oasis that has supported life for centuries. From the top, the view stretches across palm groves and distant mountains, offering the same perspective once held by guardians watching over caravans and communities. Villages surrounding these forts feel untouched by urgency. Narrow lanes wind between mud brick homes. Doors are left open. Neighbors greet one another without hesitation. Life unfolds at a pace set by sunlight and seasons, not clocks. Here, tradition is not a performance for visitors. It is simply how things are done, because it has always worked. Oman's history is deeply tied to trade and connection rather than conquest. For centuries, its people navigated oceans, crossing vast distances with confidence and skill. They brought back not only goods, but ideas, languages, and influences that quietly shaped the culture. Yet, despite this openness, Oman never lost its identity. It absorbed the world without being consumed by it. One of the most remarkable aspects of Oman's heritage is how carefully it has been preserved. Restoration does not erase age, it respects it. Cracks in walls are not hidden. Weathered textures remain visible. The goal is not to recreate perfection, but to maintain authenticity. Walking through these historic spaces, you feel presence rather than polish. Markets in historic towns like Nizwa offer another glimpse into this continuity. Weekly gatherings bring together farmers, craftsmen, and traders from surrounding regions. Livestock markets unfold as they have for generations. Conversations matter more than speed. Prices are agreed upon through trust and familiarity, not aggressive negotiation. Even visitors sense they are witnessing something genuine, not staged. Safety here is inseparable from tradition. Social bonds are strong. Everyone knows one another, or at least knows of one another. Respect is reinforced naturally through community, not surveillance. This creates an environment where people look out for each other, and where outsiders are welcomed with care rather than suspicion. Religion plays a quiet but central role in shaping this atmosphere. Mosques are places of gathering, reflection, and guidance. Faith encourages balance, humility, and responsibility. It is not loud. It does not demand attention. It simply exists, influencing behavior through example rather than force. As you move through these historic villages and fortresses, it becomes clear that Oman's strength lies in continuity. Change happens slowly, thoughtfully, without breaking what already works. The past is not something to escape, It is something to learn from. In a world that often measures progress by how fast it can move on, Oman offers a different lesson. Endurance matters, memory matters, roots matter. And as the stones of ancient walls catch the light of another passing day, you realize that Oman is not preserved because it is fragile. It is preserved because it is strong. Oman's culture is not something you observe from a distance. It is something you feel the moment you arrive. It lives in gestures, in tone of voice, in the unspoken rules of respect that guide daily life. More than monuments or landscapes, it is this culture that defines Oman as one of the safest and most welcoming countries in the world. Hospitality in Oman is not a performance or a business. It is a responsibility. Guests are treated with genuine care, whether they arrive expected or not. A simple greeting often turns into an invitation for coffee. Doors open easily. Conversations unfold without pressure. There is no sense of transaction behind kindness. It is given freely because that is how it has always been done. Traditional Omani coffee, lightly spiced and served in small cups, is more than a drink. It is a symbol of trust and connection. Dates are offered alongside it, representing generosity and continuity. Refusing is rarely expected. Accepting means you are willing to share a moment, even if only briefly. These rituals may seem small, but they form the foundation of social life. Family sits at the center of everything. Decisions are made collectively. Elders are respected not out of obligation, but out of recognition for experience and wisdom. Children grow up surrounded by multiple generations, learning values through example rather than instruction. This strong family structure creates stability that reaches far beyond individual households. Clothing in Oman reflects the same philosophy of simplicity and dignity. The traditional white dish dasha worn by men and the elegant black abaya worn by women are not about uniformity. They are about identity. They remove distraction, placing focus on character rather than appearance. Even in modern settings, traditional dress remains common, reinforcing continuity rather than nostalgia. Safety in Oman is inseparable from these cultural values. Crime is rare, not because of strict enforcement alone, but because social responsibility is deeply ingrained. People are taught to consider how their actions affect others. Shame comes not from punishment, but from disappointing the community. This creates an environment where trust thrives naturally. Music, poetry, and storytelling quietly weave through everyday life. Traditional songs echo during celebrations and gatherings, carrying stories of sea voyages, desert journeys, and ancestral pride. These expressions are not frozen traditions. They evolve gently, staying relevant while honoring their roots. Religion, too, shapes culture through balance rather than rigidity. Faith encourages humility, patience, and compassion. It influences behavior subtly, guiding interactions and decisions without overwhelming them. The result is a society that feels grounded, confident, and calm. Visitors often notice how comfortable it feels to simply exist in Oman. There is no pressure to impress, no expectation to perform. You are allowed to be present, to observe, to ask questions. Curiosity is met with patience. Differences are respected, not judged. As you spend more time here, it becomes clear that Oman's greatest strength is its sense of identity. It knows who it is. It does not feel the need to explain itself or seek validation. This quiet confidence shapes every interaction, every space, every moment. In a world increasingly defined by division and distraction, Oman offers something rare, a culture built on respect, generosity, and balance, a place where safety feels human, not enforced. And as you leave each conversation behind, you realize that Oman's true beauty is not only in what you see, but in how it makes you feel. Oman's culture is not something you simply watch from a distance. You feel it the moment you arrive. It lives in small gestures, quiet respect, and a rhythm of life that values balance over urgency. More than landmarks or landscapes, this culture is what makes Oman feel so safe, so grounded, and so deeply human. Hospitality in Oman is not an act, it is a responsibility. A guest is treated with dignity, whether they arrive as a friend or a stranger. A simple greeting often turns into a shared cup of coffee. Doors open without hesitation. Time is given freely. There is no expectation of return, no hidden motive. Kindness here is not strategic. It is instinctive. The ritual of serving Omani coffee is one of the clearest expressions of this mindset. Lightly spiced and poured in small cups, it is offered with dates as a symbol of generosity and welcome. The gesture is simple, yet powerful. Accepting it means you are willing to share a moment. It is an unspoken agreement of mutual respect, even if you never exchange names. Family sits at the center of Omani life. Decisions are rarely made alone. Elders are respected for their experience, not their authority. Children grow up surrounded by multiple generations, learning patience, humility, and responsibility through daily interaction. This strong social structure creates stability that extends far beyond individual households. Traditional clothing reflects the same philosophy. The white dishdasha worn by men and the elegant abaya worn by women are not about fashion or status. They represent identity, dignity, and simplicity. By removing excess, they place focus on character rather than appearance. Even in modern offices and cities, traditional dress remains common, reinforcing continuity rather than nostalgia. Safety in Oman does not rely on constant surveillance or visible enforcement. It comes from shared values. People are taught to think beyond themselves, to consider how their actions affect others. Community matters, reputation matters. Trust is earned and protected. As a result, crime is rare, and public spaces feel calm and unthreatening. Music and storytelling quietly shape cultural memory. Traditional songs echo during weddings and celebrations, carrying stories of seafarers, desert travelers, and ancestral pride. Poetry remain deeply respected, valued not only for beauty, but for wisdom. These expressions are not frozen in the past. They evolve gently, staying relevant without losing their roots. Religion plays a central yet understated role. Faith encourages patience, balance, and compassion rather than fear or rigidity. Mosques serve not only as places of prayer, but as centers of guidance and reflection. Belief here shapes behavior through example, not force. It blends into daily life naturally, influencing actions without dominating them. What many visitors notice most is how comfortable it feels to simply exist in Oman. There is no pressure to impress, no urgency to perform. Curiosity is met with patience. Differences are respected without being emphasized. You are allowed to observe, to ask, to learn at your own pace. As time passes, a deeper realization begins to form. Oman is confident in who it is. It does not seek attention. It does not compete. It preserves its identity quietly, trusting that authenticity speaks louder than spectacle. In a world that often feels loud, divided, and rushed, Oman offers something rare, a culture built on respect, generosity, and calm strength. A place where safety feels natural, not imposed. And as you move through its towns, homes, and conversations, you understand that Oman's true beauty is not only in its landscapes, but in the way it treats people. Oman's wildlife and natural balance exist quietly, often unnoticed by those who rush through the world. This is not a land of loud safaris or staged encounters. Nature here moves carefully, adapted to harsh environments and long seasons of survival. To understand Oman fully, you have to slow down and learn how life thrives where it seems impossible. Across deserts, mountains, and coastlines, animals have evolved to live in harmony with extreme conditions. The Arabian oryx, once extinct in the wild, now roams protected reserves, symbolizing resilience and careful conservation. These elegant creatures move calmly across open plains, perfectly adapted to heat and scarcity. Their return is not a spectacle. It is a quiet success built on patience and responsibility. In the mountains, rare species like the Arabian tar cling to steep cliffs with effortless grace. Their survival depends on balance, precision, and isolation. These animals do not tolerate disruption. Protecting them means protecting the land itself. Oman has chosen preservation over exploitation, allowing ecosystems to remain intact rather than reshaped for profit. The desert, often mistaken for emptiness, supports a surprising web of life. Foxes, gazelles, insects, and birds emerge mostly at night, when temperatures soften and silence deepens. Plants conserve water through deep roots and minimal exposure. Every movement has purpose. Nothing is wasted. Nature here teaches efficiency through necessity. Along the coast, the story continues beneath the waves. Oman's seas remain among the most biodiverse in the region. Coral reefs thrive in clear waters, sheltering countless marine species. Dolphins frequently appear near shore, playful yet unafraid. Whales pass through during migration seasons, reminding observers of how vast these waters truly are. One of the most powerful wildlife experiences in Oman happens quietly, under the cover of darkness. Along protected beaches, endangered sea turtles return each year to lay their eggs. There are no crowds, no bright lights, no noise. Visitors who are allowed to witness this moment do so in silence, guided by strict conservation rules. The experience feels sacred, not touristic. What makes Oman's approach to wildlife unique is restraint. Development is carefully managed. National parks are protected without turning them into entertainment zones. Tourism exists, but it is controlled, respectful, and limited. The goal is not maximum access. It is long-term survival. This philosophy extends to environmental awareness. Water conservation, land protection, and sustainable practices are not marketing slogans here. They are necessities rooted in geography. Oman understands that survival depends on balance, and that balance cannot be rushed. Safety in nature feels instinctive. Trails are clear. Locals offer guidance willingly. There is trust between people and environment, shaped by generations of coexistence. Visitors are encouraged to observe, not interfere, to experience, not consume. As you move through Oman's natural spaces, a quiet shift takes place. You begin to notice smaller details, tracks in the sand, the sound of wind through rock formations, the way animals disappear without drama. Nature does not perform here. It simply exists, confident and complete. In a world where wildlife is often reduced to attractions, Oman offers something different. A reminder that the most powerful experiences are often the quietest ones, that protection matters more than access, and that beauty, when respected, can endure. Oman's landscapes do not shout for attention. Neither does its wildlife. Together, they form a living system built on patience, respect, and survival. And as you leave these spaces behind, you realize that Oman's natural world has given you more than memories. It has offered perspective. Oman's deserts are not empty spaces. They are vast, living landscapes shaped by wind, time, and silence. When you step into the desert, you are entering a place that forces you to slow down. It strips away noise, distraction, and the need to be constantly in motion. Here, you begin to understand Oman's true power. A country that has learned to live with nature, not against it. The Wahiba Sands is one of the most iconic desert regions in Oman. Its dunes rise and fall like waves frozen in time. At sunrise, the sand glows in shades of gold and pink. At sunset, the colors deepen into rich amber and crimson. The air is still. The silence is thick. It feels as though the world has been paused. Yet the desert is not lifeless. It supports a fragile ecosystem that has survived for centuries. Bedouin communities have lived here for generations, adapting to extreme conditions with skills that seem almost impossible to outsiders. They know how to find water, how to read the wind, how to move safely across shifting dunes. Their knowledge is not written in books. It is passed down through experience and survival. Visiting the desert in Oman is not about conquering it. It is about respecting it. Many travelers come seeking thrill, but the desert rewards patience more than bravery. The most memorable experiences happen quietly, watching the sunrise, listening to the wind, observing a camel's slow, steady pace. In the desert, time feels different. It is not measured in hours, but in light. The desert also reveals Oman's commitment to balance. Tourism here is managed carefully. Camps are built with respect for the land. Waste is minimized. Local communities benefit from visitors rather than being displaced. The goal is not to dominate the environment, but to share it responsibly. Safety in the desert is a different kind of safety. It is not about fences or guards. It is about preparation, awareness, and respect. The desert demands that you pay attention. You cannot take it for granted. But when you do, it becomes one of the most peaceful places on earth. Beyond the Wahiba Sands, Oman's desert landscapes stretch into vast plateaus and rocky plains. Mountains rise abruptly from the sand, creating dramatic contrasts. These terrains feel almost extraterrestrial, as if the earth itself has been sculpted by a force beyond understanding. Yet they are real, and they are here. In the desert, you also begin to understand Oman's history in a deeper way. Caravans once crossed these lands, carrying goods and stories across vast distances. The desert was not a barrier. It was a route, a challenge, and a test of endurance. Oman's people learned to move through it with respect, not arrogance. As night falls, the desert becomes even more extraordinary. Without city lights, the sky opens up. Stars appear in overwhelming numbers, forming patterns that feel ancient. The Milky Way stretches across the darkness, like a river of light. The silence becomes absolute. In that moment, you realize how small and connected you are. The desert teaches you a simple truth. Beauty does not need noise. It does not need constant stimulation. Sometimes the most powerful experiences are the quietest ones, where you can hear your own thoughts and feel the world around you with full clarity. And when you leave the desert behind, you carry its lesson with you. Oman is a country that chooses balance over chaos, respect over domination, and calm over rush. Its landscapes may be vast and dramatic, but its true strength lies in how it remains gentle, grounded, and safe. Oman is not just a destination. It is a reminder that the world can still feel real, still feel human, and still feel intact. As the desert fades behind you, Oman's story continues to unfold in another direction toward the mountains. These peaks rise sharply from the earth, carving the sky into jagged lines and offering a completely different kind of silence. The Hajar Mountains are not just a backdrop. They are a living presence, shaping climate, culture, and the very way people move through the land. Driving through the mountains, the road becomes a journey through time. Every turn reveals a new landscape rock, faces that seem carved by ancient forces, deep canyons, and hidden valleys where water still flows. Here, water is a precious resource, and its presence changes everything. Oases appear like miracles, with palm trees clustered around streams, creating pockets of green in the harsh terrain. Wadi Shab is one of those hidden miracles. The path into the wadi leads through narrow canyons, where sunlight filters down in thin beams. The air grows cooler, and the sound of water becomes louder. At the end, a pool of clear blue water waits, surrounded by cliffs. It feels like a secret place, reserved for those who are willing to make the journey. Wadis are not just natural attractions, they are lifelines. In Oman, these valleys have supported communities for centuries, offering water for crops, livestock, and daily life. The people who live here have learned to manage resources carefully. They understand that survival depends on balance, not abundance. The mountains also reveal Oman's architectural identity. Villages cling to slopes, built from stone that matches the surrounding rock. Homes are simple, sturdy, and designed for climate. Even modern buildings blend into the landscape rather than standing out. This is a country that does not force itself onto the land. It adapts, respects, and coexists. As you climb higher, the air changes. The temperature drops. The wind becomes sharper, and the view expands. From the peaks, you can see the desert meeting the mountains, the coast meeting the sea, and the city lights far below. It becomes clear how diverse Oman truly is. It is a land of extremes, but those extremes are balanced by the same sense of harmony that appears in its culture and cities. In the mountains, you also feel a different kind of safety. The environment is rugged, but the people are grounded. Travelers are welcomed with care. Local guides share knowledge without arrogance. There is a sense of mutual respect between visitor and host, based on the understanding that nature is powerful and must be treated with humility. The mountains also bring you closer to Oman's history of trade and connection. For centuries, mountain passes were used by caravans traveling inland, carrying goods from the coast to the interior. The mountains were not obstacles, they were routes. They shaped the country's identity as a crossroads between land and sea. And in the quiet moments, when the wind moves through the rocks and the world feels still, you understand why Oman remains one of the safest countries in the region. Safety here is not built on fear or control. It is built on community, respect, and balance. It is the result of a society that values stability and harmony above chaos and spectacle. The mountains of Oman are not simply beautiful. They are a reminder that the world is vast, and that humans can still live in a way that honors the land rather than exploiting it. As you leave the peaks behind, you carry a sense of calm that is rare in modern travel. Oman has a way of slowing you down, not by force, but by invitation. And that invitation is the most powerful part of the country's charm. Oman does not demand attention. It offers presence. It does not chase the future. It preserves the best parts of the past. And in a world that often feels rushed and fragmented, Oman stands as proof that beauty, safety, and authenticity can still exist together. But now the focus shifts from heights to heritage. Hidden among the rocky slopes are ancient villages that seem almost frozen in time. These places are not built for tourism. They are built for life simple, practical, and deeply connected to the land. One of the most striking examples is the village of Muscat Oman. Perched on a steep hillside, it appears like a cluster of stone steps leading down to a valley. The village is a maze of narrow lanes, with houses built from rock and mud, blending seamlessly into the mountain itself. The architecture is not designed to impress. It is designed to endure. What stands out most here is the irrigation system. Oman's mountains have no natural abundance of water, yet these communities have managed to thrive for centuries. The Falaj system, an ancient network of channels and tunnels, moves water from mountain springs down into fields and homes. It is a simple technology, but one that requires precision, maintenance, and shared responsibility. Water is not a commodity here. It is a shared trust. Walking through these villages, you get a sense of how life used to be everywhere. People live close to each other, relying on cooperation. Children grow up learning the land's rhythms. Elders pass down knowledge not through books, but through daily practice. It's a way of life that feels rare in today's world. The mountains also offer a glimpse into Oman's spiritual connection to the land. Many communities still observe traditions that honor nature and heritage. The landscape is not seen as something to conquer, but something to respect. This mindset is reflected in how villages are built and maintained, in the way people speak, and in the quiet pride that comes from living in harmony with the environment. As you continue deeper into the mountain region, the terrain becomes more dramatic. Narrow roads twist along cliff edges. The view opens to deep valleys and distant horizons. It is easy to feel small here, but it is also easy to feel connected. The landscape demands humility. It reminds you that nature is larger than human ambition. Safety in the mountains is also a matter of respect. The environment is powerful, and the weather can change quickly. Travelers who approach the region with caution are rewarded with some of the most unforgettable scenery in Oman. Those who rush or ignore local guidance often find the landscape challenging, but the locals are patient and willing to help, offering guidance and support to those who show respect. One of the most important lessons of the mountain villages is that progress does not require erasing the past. Oman has modernized in many ways, but it has not abandoned its roots. The country demonstrates that development can coexist with heritage. The mountains show that tradition can remain alive without becoming a museum. As the sun sets behind the peaks, the colors shift dramatically. The rocks turn from gray to gold, then to deep purple. The air cools, and the sky becomes a canvas of stars. It is a moment that makes you realize why people have lived here for so long. It is not just survival, it is connection, it is belonging. In the end, the mountains of Oman are more than a landscape. They are a lesson. They teach that safety is built through balance, respect, and community. They show that human life can thrive without overpowering nature. And they remind us that the most powerful places in the world are often those that remain quiet, unassuming, and true to themselves. When you leave the mountains behind, you don't just carry memories of scenery. You carry a sense of calm, a new perspective, and the understanding that Oman's beauty is not only in what you see, but in how it makes you feel. The landscape changes again, this time toward the sea. But even here, Oman's story remains consistent. It is a story of balance, of living with nature rather than fighting it. The coastline is not a separate chapter. It is the continuation of the same philosophy that shapes every part of the country. The coastal regions of Oman are not crowded with commercial resorts. Instead, they are made of quiet fishing towns, long stretches of untouched beach, and hidden coves that feel almost secret. The sea here is not a background, it is a presence. It shapes the culture, the food, and the daily rhythm of life. In coastal towns like Sur, the relationship between people and the sea is clear. Boats are built and repaired with care. Fishing is not just a job, it is a tradition. Families depend on the ocean, but they also respect it. The sea provides, but it also demands humility. This mutual understanding has helped preserve the coastline and the communities that rely on it. One of the most powerful experiences along Oman's coast is watching a dhow at sunset. These traditional wooden boats have sailed these waters for centuries. They are a symbol of Oman's maritime history and its connection to the wider world. When a dhow glides across the water, it feels like a living link to the past, reminding you that Oman has always been a bridge between land and sea. The sea is also where Oman's commitment to conservation becomes most visible. Turtles return each year to lay eggs on protected beaches. Dolphins and whales move through the waters with little interference. Coral reefs thrive because the ocean is not being exploited. The country's approach to tourism remains careful and respectful, focused on long-term sustainability rather than short-term profit. This approach to nature reflects a deeper mindset. Oman does not view the world as something to be conquered. It views it as something to be cared for. This mindset is visible in everything from city planning to desert protection, from mountain villages to coastal conservation. It is the foundation of what makes Oman feel safe, calm, and grounded. As the day ends, the coastline becomes a place of reflection. The sound of waves becomes a steady, soothing rhythm. The sky changes colors, from bright blue to orange, then to deep navy. The stars appear, and the ocean becomes a dark mirror. It is a moment of quiet beauty, one that feels almost sacred. In this moment, you realize something important. Oman is not trying to impress you with spectacle. It is inviting you to see the world differently. It is asking you to slow down, to observe, and to appreciate the quiet strength of a place that has learned to live in harmony with itself. The country's safety, its beauty, and its calm do not come from isolation. They come from a culture of respect for people, for community, and for the land. Oman has chosen a path that values stability over chaos, balance over extremes, and authenticity over hype. And as you watch the final light fade over the water, you understand why Oman feels like a hidden gem. It is a place where the world still feels real, where nature still has the final word, where life is not rushed, but lived. Oman is not just a destination, it is a lesson. A reminder that the most powerful beauty is often quiet, that the safest places are often the ones built on respect, and that a country can grow without losing its soul. This is Oman, a land of silence, strength, and steady wonder. Oman is a country that does not demand attention. It simply holds it. And by the time you reach the end of this journey after the cities, the deserts, the mountains, and the coastline, you realize the same truth again and again. Oman is safe not because it is controlled, but because it is cared for. The final part of this story is not about one place. It is about the feeling that remains after you leave. Oman does not disappear when you board a plane. It stays with you in quiet ways, in the way you begin to notice balance in your own life, in the way you start to value calm over chaos, in the way you remember that beauty does not need to shout to be unforgettable. The country's safety is built on respect. Respect for tradition, for nature, and for people. It is a society that values stability, trust, and community. In Oman, strangers are treated as guests, and guests are treated with honor. The land itself teaches this lesson. The desert teaches patience. The mountains teach humility. The sea teaches respect. And the cities teach harmony. Each landscape is a different chapter, but the message is the same. Life is best lived in balance. Oman is also a reminder that a country does not need to be loud to be significant. It does not need to build the tallest towers, the biggest malls, or the most extravagant attractions. Oman's power comes from its ability to remain true to itself. It has preserved its identity without turning into a museum. It has modernized without losing its soul. Traveling through Oman feels like moving through a living story, one that has been unfolding for centuries. You are not simply a visitor. You are a witness to a culture that has learned to survive and thrive in a harsh environment without sacrificing humanity. The people you meet here are calm, welcoming, and proud. Their sense of identity is strong, but never arrogant. They are confident in who they are, and they do not feel the need to prove it to anyone. This confidence creates a sense of security that is rare in today's world, and the landscapes, those wide open spaces, create a sense of freedom that is difficult to find anywhere else. The desert, the mountains, the coast, each offers a kind of peace that goes beyond beauty. It is a peace that touches something deeper, something that reminds you of what life can feel like when it is not rushed. As your journey comes to a close, you may find yourself thinking about Oman long after you leave. Not because it was a thrilling adventure, but because it was a calm one. Not because it was loud, but because it was real. Oman is a country that makes you feel safe in a way that is hard to describe. It is not safety built on fear. It is safety built on trust, on respect, on community, on a deep understanding that the world is stronger when people live with balance and humility. And that is why Oman is more than a travel destination. It is a lesson in how a country can be beautiful, peaceful, and safe without losing its soul. So when you think of Oman, remember this: it is not a place you conquer, it is a place you experience, a place you carry with you, a place that changes you quietly without even trying. This is Oman, a land of calm strength, a land of quiet wonder, a land that remains unforgettable long after the journey ends. As our journey ends, you may realize something important. Oman didn't impress you with loud attractions or crowded cities. It impressed you with balance, with calm, with a kind of beauty that doesn't demand attention but quietly earns it. This is a country that has learned to live in harmony with nature, not against it. It has preserved its culture without becoming trapped in the past. It has modernized without losing its soul. In Oman, safety is not a promise, it's a feeling. It's the kind of safety that comes from respect, trust, and a deep sense of community. It's the kind of place where strangers are treated like guests, and guests are treated like family. So when you think of Oman, don't think of it as a destination you visited. Think of it as a place that changed you. A place that reminded you that the world can still be calm, still be real, still be human. And if you ever get the chance to return, you'll find that Oman is still the same quiet, strong, and endlessly beautiful. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this journey, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more 4K travel documentaries. Thanks for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed exploring Prague as much as I enjoyed guiding you through it. If you found this travel guide helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more videos.